Close. So good morning, parents. Welcome to our weekly parent meeting. I want to go over a little bit of parent news, and once I'm finished, Miss Stafford will take over and begin her presentation. So one reminder is please set a bedtime for your child to acclimate your student with the new change to face to face. We know that you can lounge around a little bit and be more at your leisure when you're at home, but when you're in school for 2 days, it's at a quicker pace. So we need children to be alert and attentive in class, and we need to make sure that they are going to bed on time. And also, if you plan to change the way your child goes home each day, please be sure to contact the school by 2:30 p.m. because the office closes by 3 p.m. so that we can prepare for dismissal. So if you know elementary students, it takes us a little bit of time to get them packed up and ready to go. And especially on their last brick day of being in school face to face, it's going to take teachers some time to pass out maybe some work for them to do for the remainder 3 days they're at home. So if there's any changes, we need those done by 2:30. Again, the office closes at 3 p.m. and reopens at 3:45 p.m. For dismissal, if you are parent pickup, we ask that you please park on Penworth or on Blue Ash. And there'll be signs there that says, please do not park here. So don't park in front of those signs because if the police do show up, they can ticket your car. So just want you to be aware, and we don't want anyone getting any tickets picking up their children. And pickup is at the front door. And you'll come into the gym and sit at your child's grade level table, and we'll call students down one at a time to ensure that we're following CDC guidelines and everyone is safe. And we're asking parents to not pull into the parking lot because this space is reserved just for daycare vans and buses. We don't want parents coming in and there's an accident. And also school begins each day at 8:30 a.m. and dismissal begins at 3:20 p.m. Cohort A is on Monday and Tuesday. If your child is in cohort B, they have class on Thursday and Friday. Every Wednesday is an asynchronous day with a morning meeting, and your child's teacher will communicate with you the time for the morning meeting. So every Wednesday, your child will have a 20-minute meeting, not this Wednesday coming up on February 10th, but all of the Wednesdays subsequently after that, they will have a morning meeting for 20 minutes, and teachers will communicate that on class tag. You will need to check in your child the days they are not face-to-face in the building. So the days your child is not in the building, if not, they will be marked absent. It is so important for parents to check their children in when they are not in school. The teacher only takes attendance for students who are in the building. Please set a reminder in your phone. Students have work that has to be completed on the days they are not in school. So for example, if your child comes to school on Monday and Tuesday, they will need to complete work at home for grades on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Teachers will check work that has been included in the Google Stream. So students will have assignments in their Google Classroom, and they have iReady work, Seesaw. Teachers will be adding RAS Kids, that's a new program we have now, and Reflex Math. Teachers may also send work home, so you may see some packets come home. Please check your child's folder for assignments. So every grade level has their own colored folder. So please be sure you are checking that colored folder for schoolwork. Teachers are checking the work to make sure students are working when they are at home. Teachers will place some of your child's assignments in the Google Stream. So please make sure you're checking Google Stream daily, the same way you would have if they were at home. Unified Arts schedule is in full effect the week of February 8th. Okay, so next Monday, Unified Arts will be in full effect with the new schedule, and teachers should have placed that new Unified Arts schedule for art, music, gym, and library in their Google Stream. So that new schedule begins on this Monday. Now, our Black History dates, please mark your calendar. This week, we focused on African Americans in education and desegregation. So today we talked about the Brown versus Board of Education trial in 1954. And this is why we're able to go to school with children of all different races, and adults of all different races can now work together. White teachers, Black principals, white principals. And so we wanted students to understand the importance of that because it wasn't always this way. And we're focusing on Ruby Bridges. So every teacher received a book on Ruby Bridges. They have videos to watch on Ruby Bridges. And on tomorrow, on my personal Zoom, we will watch the movie Ruby Bridges, which is on Disney Channel. So you can join me tomorrow for my family movie night, because every Friday, my daughter and I, we have movie night. We go to Five and Below, we pick up snacks, and we watch a good movie. And so tomorrow will be Ruby Bridges, and we welcome you into our home to watch Ruby Bridges with us. Then on next week, we'll focus on African Americans in sports and how they've made a lot of changes in sports and broke the barriers, because we know with Jackie Robinson, Tiger Woods, LeBron James, and our students will read a book with Kobe Bryant featured. We know all children of all races loved Kobe Bryant, and it broke everyone's heart when we heard the devastating news of his life being lost with his daughter, Gianna. And so teachers will read that book, Who Was Kobe Bryant? And then we're going to watch, it's a short film. It's an animated short film called Dear Basketball. And that will be our family night on Friday, February 12th. And then on February 15th, I'm super excited about this one. If you notice, I have my pearls around my frame today on Zoom. And I always wore pearls before Kamala Harris was elected vice president, but I know that classy women wear pearls, and we have girls with pearls here at school. And this week, the third week, we're going to focus on African-American women in politics, talking about Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, and Kamala Harris. And so all of our teachers will read a book about who is Kamala Harris. And we have a bunch of videos to play in our classroom. And so parents, you can also watch those videos at home. They can be found on YouTube. And then February 19th for family night, we're going to watch the movie Hidden Figures with featuring the Black women who broke the barriers in Nassau in science and mathematics. And politics played a huge role in that as well, especially with the civil rights movement. And then the last week of Black History Month, we're going to talk about African Americans in entertainment. And we're going to read the book Hair Love. So all of our children can love their hair, whether they wear it in puff balls or in an afro, ponytails, if they're wearing it straight or in twists, braids. All of our children wear their hair in different ways, and we want to express that. And they'll watch the movie in their class, Hair Love. And so if you haven't read that book, it's a pretty cool book. So every classroom has that book. And then we're going to watch for family night, Little. So if you don't watch the TV show Blackish or Mixedish or Grownish, on the show Blackish, Marsai Martin, the daughter, she produced a movie, Little, and it's a very funny movie. And so that's an African-American, a young African-American in entertainment. And I want our children to understand that their life has possibilities and they can dream up anything. And if they put their mind to it, they can do it. And so she's a young director and producer in Hollywood. And so that will be our movie night. So I do hope that you wrote down those dates for our family movie night and that you all participate in our Black history learning at home. And this information will be shared on next week. We will be sending it home with our students. So at this time, I'll take questions and then we will be in the hands of Mrs. Stafford. All right, so we don't have any questions, Ms. Stafford. You can take it away.
Okay. Load here. Here we go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. When Miss Campbell held the iReady parent meetings, we had one in December and two in January. And I presented some information about the diagnostic assessments. And at the end, I touched very briefly on developing a growth mindset within our children. And it seemed to pique a little bit of interest. So Ms. Campbell asked me to go a little bit further and to just provide some tips on fostering this type of a mindset at home. So that's kind of where this presentation stemmed from. So I'm going to break our session into three parts. First, I'll just kind of review the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. And then I will give you all some tips to encourage a growth mindset at home. And then at the end, I have a few resources that you can explore on your own time, and some books that you can read with your children at home. So first and foremost, much of what we think and understand about our own personality comes from our mindset. And this can either propel us forward or it can prevent us from reaching our potential. And so the idea of a growth mindset has been around for quite some time. Carol Dweck is famous really for her studies on a growth mindset. She's an American psychologist and an award-winning author, and she is currently a professor of psychology at Stanford University. And what she has done is she has studied the self-conceptions that people use to guide their behavior. And then what she did was examined how those self-conceptions affect our motivation, our self-regulation, and then as the impact that this all has on our personal achievements. So when I was doing some research for this presentation, Carol Dweck wrote a book called Mindset. And this quote kept popping up whenever I was looking into some things. And it's in her book. And she says, change can be tough, but I've never heard anybody say it wasn't worth it. And that just really resonated with me. So I wanted to put it on here because that's true. Change is scary. We're not all always willing to change, but in the end, we usually grow or learn something from it. And so most of the time it is worth it. So I really like that quote. So before I get started, I just want you to take a minute and think about when it comes to our own mindset or even our children's mindset. What are the consequences of thinking that your intelligence and abilities are fixed and can't be changed? And just think for a minute, especially in our children, if they have that thought that where they are in their learning, their intelligence, their abilities and their skills can't be changed, how can that affect them? And if someone wants to drop an idea in the chat or just unmute and share how they think that could affect their child, feel free. Try to see if I can pull up the chat here. But how might that affect our kids if they believe that they can't do anything to change their intelligence or their skills? And if you don't want to share, that's okay. I can move forward. I would say it tends to make them want to give up. You know, why put in effort if they can't do anything to change where they are in their learning? Oh, I see somebody did. They'll try anything new. Yeah. So that's what we want them to do. We want to develop that growth mindset so that they'll be willing to try new things. So here is just a little graphic for you to help you see the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So if someone has a fixed mindset, they believe that their character, their skills, intelligence, their creativity are all things that are fixed. It's something that we are born with. It's who we are. You might hear someone say it's just the hand we've been dealt. And this kind of thought can be very limiting. Whereas someone with a growth mindset believes that those basic skills and knowledge can be improved with effort. And they see the hand we're dealt as just a starting point. And this can be very freeing. So I have a quick little video I'm going to play. And Ms. Campbell, if you could just give me a thumbs up when it starts so I know that you all can hear it.
Angela, does she talk a little bit about children who may have anxiety?
In the video?
No, just period.
Oh, Carol Dweck?
Yeah, Carol Dweck. Like if children suffer from anxiety, and because of the anxiety, they may have fear or doubt. It's not that they don't believe, it's just that they have this heightened fear due to the anxiety that exists within.
I did see that like a blip as I was reading. I can't answer, you know, like her solution to that right now because I didn't go that far into it. But yes, I believe that she does address that in multiple ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
relationship.
Can you hear that?
Between what we believe about how we learn and our actual achievement. Dr. Carol Dweck studies students' beliefs about intelligence. What she found is that students generally hold one of two very different beliefs about intelligence. Some students have what she calls a fixed mindset. This is the belief that intelligence is a fixed trait that doesn't change much. So like eye color, these students believe you're born with a certain amount of intelligence and there's not much you can do to change it. Other students have a very different belief about intelligence. They have a growth mindset. They see intelligence more like a muscle. They understand that when you put in effort, you can get smarter. What we now know from study after study is that the more students have a growth mindset and believe that they can grow their intelligence, the better they do in school. Students with a growth mindset do better in school because they approach learning differently than students with a fixed mindset. For students with a fixed mindset, their goal in school is to show how smart they are or hide how dumb they think they are. This makes sense, right? If you think you're just born smart or dumb, you want to make sure you show that you are smart. So this makes fixed mindsetters much less likely to ask questions in class or seek out help from peers or teachers, because that would involve showing that they don't know something. Students with a growth mindset, on the other hand, have the goal to learn. So they're more likely to ask a question if they don't understand, or to seek out help, or try a new strategy if they are struggling. When it comes to the amount of effort you have to put forth, students with a fixed mindset and students with a growth mindset see that differently as well. Those with a fixed mindset actually see effort as proof of low ability. They think that if you have to try hard, that means you aren't very smart. Whereas students with a growth mindset see effort as the way that you get smarter. How students react when they are faced with a challenge or setback in their learning is what really differentiates those with a fixed mindset and those with a growth mindset. Students with a fixed mindset will think that they are not smart and will likely give up on a task. Those with a growth mindset tend to work harder because they see it as an opportunity to learn and grow their intelligence. So if we can all grow our intelligence, are we saying that all students have equal ability? We aren't saying that everyone has the same level of intelligence. Having a growth mindset doesn't mean that you believe everyone has equal ability in every subject matter. It also doesn't mean that we believe some students aren't more talented in certain subjects than others. It means that you believe that no matter where a person is now, they can always improve with effort, good strategies, and help. And that's the number one piece of information you should take away from this lesson. No matter where a person is now, they can always improve with effort, good strategies, and help.
Okay. So she states in the video that students with a growth mindset approach learning differently. And these are three of the ways they do that. One is that they're willing to ask questions and they're seeking answers because that presents an opportunity for the student to learn. And so what we want to do is encourage our children to ask those questions. You know, if you saw the little graphic in the video, the student was thinking, what if I'm the only one who doesn't understand? They're afraid to ask those questions because it highlights that they don't know something. What we want them to see is that asking those questions shows everyone that you're eager to learn. You want to know those answers. They're also willing to try new strategies. So if they make a mistake or get something wrong in an assignment, they look for a different solution or a way to solve the problem. And so we also want students, you know, to develop that mindset, you know, okay, I messed up, but I can try again and fix this. And then that kind of ties into putting forth the effort. And they put forth the effort because they know if they keep trying, they will learn or improve. I showed this chart during that iReady meeting. And what I had done then was I went through this middle column here with the skills and challenges, and I just compared fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Today, I'm going to move down the column to show how it kind of creates a circle, a continuous circle on our pathway, or it can create a dead end for us. So Someone with a fixed mindset, again, they see those skills as just something you're born with. We can't change it. And therefore, when a challenge is presented to them, they see challenges as something to avoid because it reveals a lack of skill. So they want to give up easily, because if they have to put in effort, well, that's something you do when you're not good enough. You know, if I have to try at this, then I must not know how to do it, or I'm not good at it. And then when someone tries to give them feedback, a teacher, a parent, a friend, they're going to get defensive. They take it personally. They really don't see the point in feedback because, you know, why keep trying when they don't know how to do it? It's not part of who they are. And then they get a setback that causes them to blame others. You know, it can't be their fault because, again, that's just who they are. And then this is very discouraging, and it just creates a dead end. But, you know, they're not going to keep trying because it's just innate. It's part of who they are. So why even bother trying? Whereas someone with a growth mindset sees those skills as developing from hard work, and that's something that you can always improve. And so when they are faced with a challenge, they embrace it because they see it as an opportunity to grow. And this causes a person to become more persistent because they know if they put forth that effort, they will improve. You know, it's essential to put in the effort to get better. And notice here it says a path to mastery. And just like she said in the video, it doesn't mean that we're all going to reach the same level of potential in every subject area or sport or music industry. There is some natural talent that comes into play, but no matter where you are, you can always improve. And
Is Miss Stafford frozen on you guys' screens? Are you guys okay? Everyone, I don't know what happened. This is the first time this has ever happened during our meeting. It kicked Miss Stafford out again too. I don't know if it's our internet in the building or what. It's something going on with our connection, Miss Stafford, here in the building. Has never happened before.
I know it. Of course, today it would. Okay, let me pull it up again.
Thank you for your patience, parents. We appreciate it.
I don't know when was I through the chart?
Yeah, you were through the chart going to your next one, I think.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just want to make sure. Let me open this back up. All right, so how can you encourage a growth mindset at home? First and foremost, be an example. Think about how you handle mistakes in front of your children. You know, because even when we don't think they are watching or at least listening. And they're little sponges. They soak up everything that we do and say. And so when something goes wrong at home, do you get angry with yourself? Do you say things like, oh, I can't do this. I give up on this. You know, we're human. I know that we all say things like that to ourselves. We get upset with ourselves, but we have to try to remember, especially when our children are nearby, to use these as learning opportunities for them and show them, okay, I messed up on this. What can I do to fix it? You know, start thinking out loud how you can fix those mistakes and show them. Even as adults, we make mistakes and we look for solutions to do better. And are you willing to try new things? I know as adults, we don't always have as many opportunities to try new things, especially during COVID right now, we don't have as many opportunities, but any chance you can, if, you know, maybe your child has learned something at school or a new game or even a video game they want you to try, take those moments with them to show them that you're willing to try it. A few months ago, my daughter came home from preschool and had learned this little dance. It was like 4 steps. I knew it instantly by just watching her do it. But she looked at me and said, Mom, do you want to try? And I just knew that was a moment where I could use that. And I acted nervous. You know, I don't know if I can get my feet to do that. And I had her be the one to push me to try it. And I showed her that even though I didn't know how, and I acted very nervous, that I was willing to try it and learn from it. And so, you know, just doing those little things with them can be really powerful. Also think about how you talk about your skills. You know, maybe we hear people say, you know, I'm not good at math. You know, spelling isn't my strong suit, or, you know, your aunt's the creative one, dad's the creative one, you know, someone else in your home. When we do that, we kind of instill that you either have it or you don't. Another example for me would be directions. And I'm going to say it right now, but I am a little directionally challenged. And so, and my husband is not. And he would say things like, you know, when you get up to the light, go north. And I'd say, honey, I need a landmark, speedway, left or right. But I will not do that in front of my kids anymore. And I've even developed some strategies on my own to figure out where I am. You know, sometimes when you call somewhere for directions, they'll say, are you coming from the west? And I used to think, I don't know. But now I use the highway. I think of where I am in relation to particular highways in the city, and I can figure it out. And I will show my kids that, you know, so even if something doesn't come as naturally to me, I have a strategy I can use to help myself improve. Talk to your child about their brain. This is really interesting. And, you know, you can ask them, did you know your brain changes as it learns? And there are lots of videos out there that are child friendly. They can be short little clips. They're on YouTube. And they talk about how as children learn things, their neurons actually have, they talk about them as arms, but in it shows like they're reaching out like little hands, and they make connections in their brain. And then it's imprinted on their brain and they remember it. And it's pretty cool to watch that. And so you can have your kids, you know, watch one of those little videos. You can also compare it to a muscle, you know, talk about some famous athletes and, you know, within sports, you know, these athletes, some of it is natural ability, but at the same time, every day they still have to get out there and challenge themselves and practice on a daily basis. You know, the big arms and leg muscles we see, they weren't just born with those. They had to work to develop those. They have to practice every day, just like we need to do that same thing with our brain. And then give your child tasks, and this can start as little as toddlers. Give them tasks and don't rescue them. Let them go through what we call a productive struggle. And the one most important thing I think as a parent is that patience. You know, watching them try something over and over, and especially when you're in a hurry. I know there will be times if they want to buckle something or tie their shoes and you think we're running late and you need to do it. Okay, but most of the time, try to grant them that time so that they can work through that struggle. We want them to taste that success because, you know, once they've tasted that, they want more of it. Kind of like when I've tasted chocolate, you know, now I want more of it. So it's the same thing with success. And you can even ask them if they're really starting to struggle, give them some guiding questions. You know, can you try it another way? Could you turn it? Let's say they're working on a puzzle and it's the right piece, but they have it backwards. Don't just take it and show them, you know, guide them with questions so that they're still the ones working through the process. And then speaking of the process, praise that process and not the actual product. So when they have, you know, painted something or built something, or they bring home an assignment from school that they're really proud of, acknowledge their hard work. You can say things like, well, that must have taken you a lot of time, or you must have had to try this a few different times before you figured it out. And I can tell you worked really hard on this. I love how you put together these different colors. How did you think of that? So don't focus so much on what they're showing you, but what they did to get the product that they're showing you. So praise that effort that they put into it. And then embrace failure. And we have to be a little careful with this one because we don't just want to constantly say, oh, okay, well, you didn't get it, that's okay, and you just move on. What we want to do is show them it's okay that they didn't understand something, but then talk about how can we do better next time? Or what can we learn from this? Help them seek solutions. If it's something in school, you could even say, you know, what can you ask your teacher tomorrow to let them know that you want to learn this better?
Alexa.
And then remember, this is not just for school. So you can use these types of questions and this language in sports, if they're learning a musical instrument, even video games. Kids probably have a growth mindset most often during video games and don't even realize it. Because if you think about it, you know, when they don't pass a level or they've lost a battle, sure, they can get angry and frustrated. I've seen it with my nephews, but they always end up going back. They always end up trying that level again or going into that battle again, and they don't usually do the same thing. They try a different strategy. So relate that to their work, say, hey, let's look at this math problem as a level and, Fortnite or whatever game that they liked at the time. And you can say, you didn't pass this level, but what could we do differently so that you can next time? Or how could we fix it so that you can pass it now? And even socially, if they're in an argument with their sibling or a cousin or a friend, talk about how they can fix it, what they could do better next time if the same situation arises. And then here's just some discussion starters. You wouldn't have to use all of these in the same day. But, one thing, instead of saying, what did you learn today? You could ask, what did you try hard at today? Or maybe even, what mistake did you make today? And I'd be careful with our tone. You don't want to say like, what mistake did you make today? Like it's just expected, but just to kind of celebrate those mistakes, what went wrong today? And then follow up with, well, how'd you fix it? And if they didn't have the opportunity to fix it, how can you fix it? Or even what new strategy did you try today? Maybe they learned a new math strategy for solving problems or a reading or a writing strategy. Ask them about it, what it was and how did they use it or how are they going to use it? And then you can even prep them for the next day. What will you do if you don't understand? Prep them to be eager to ask their teacher those questions. And then this is a poem that I used to have in my classroom when I taught first grade. And I just thought it was really powerful, this word yet. And I will drop a link to a copy of this for you in the chat. And Miss Campbell can also put it on her parent page. But I'm just going to read this middle part here. It says, when you first tried to talk, you were hard to understand. When you first tried to eat, you needed a hand. When you first tried to walk, you fell and fell. When you first tried to run, it didn't go well. But your baby self knew something we often forget, the superpower of the word yet. And this is really powerful for kids. I also, when I taught first grade, I would have a conversation the first week of school because, as you know, in a classroom, there are so many levels of abilities. And I never wanted a child to feel less than because maybe they couldn't read a book that was as complex as what another child was reading. And so I would ask them right off the bat, raise your hand if you were the first one in this room that learned how to speak. And they'd kind of look around, or I'd say, raise your hand if you were the first one that took your first steps. Raise your hand if you learned how to use a spoon first. And none of them can. And then I say, can you all walk now? Can you all talk now? Can you all use a spoon now? And they all kind of giggle. And I say, when you were a baby, you kept trying these things over and over until you learned it. And now look at you, you all can do that now. So even if some of you aren't quite reading yet or know all your math facts yet, you keep using that word yet. You show them that through that persistence, they will. And so even as parents, think about when your child was first learning to walk, when they were learning to speak, when they were learning to eat. You guided them, but you didn't do it all for them. You gave them those opportunities to try it and make mistakes so that they could learn it on their own. And we have to do the same thing with their learning. And then here are a few books. These two books right here, Your Fantastic Elastic Brain and Bubblegum Brain, are both children's books that teach that concept of how their brain changes as they learn and how they can actually grow their brain. And the best part about these books is you can get them on Amazon, but they are also on YouTube as read aloud. So you could just look this up and have your child listen to the read aloud, and you could listen to it with them and then talk about it afterwards. And then there's another book, I Can't Do That Yet. So there's that word, and it's Developing a Growth Mindset. And this is also available as a free read aloud on YouTube. And then this story, I could not find the free version on YouTube, but it's called Growth Mindset Ninja. There does seem to be a series because I saw on YouTube there was one called Smart Ninja and Perfect Ninja. And I think they all kind of align with developing that growth mindset and being able to make mistakes. This one is on Amazon, but like I said, I didn't see it on YouTube. And then here is the website that has some tips on things to say. Like it says, say this, not this. And then it'll kind of explain why. It's a little interactive chart. So I will put this in the chat when I'm finished. It's Growth Mindset Parenting, mindsetworks.com. And then another good website I found is Kitty Matters, and Kitty is Kiddie, kittymatters.com. And there's some tabs across the top, and the tab that says positive parenting tips has more content that relates directly to a growth mindset. And honestly, if you just Google, you can even Google growth mindset books. There are tons of really good children's books out there that talk about, being willing to try new things and make mistakes and, that I can't do that yet type stories. So there's a lot of resources out there that are available to you if you want to look more into this. And then here is just my contact information, my email, astafford@columbus.k12.oh.us. If you have any questions or need help locating the resources, please feel free to reach out to me. And that is all I have, Miss Campbell.
Thank you so much, Miss Stafford. I learned a lot, and I have some ideas for our meeting this afternoon, so get ready.
Okay.
I will be purchasing those books for our school. I have always been a fan of growth mindset. At the end of the day, you never want to be stagnant, even as an adult.
Mhm.
And to instill this concept in our children at such a young age is so important for them as they grow through elementary, middle, high, and then eventually to whatever they do after age 18. So you did a profound job explaining it. And parents, I do hope that you enjoyed this presentation. It will be on YouTube at Miss Campbell and Friends. So if there's something you didn't catch today, you didn't get notes on it, you will be able to review it and see Miss Stafford present it again over and over again. Share it with your friends and family. And again,